Hello, this is Chris. Welcome to Inside the Studio. With my guest, Auggie Lutz. I'm sorry. I should have told you. I was planning on having some sort of regular introduction.
Smart move. Yeah.
But you are actually a professional host.
Professional, yeah.
So later we're gonna have to look back at the tape.
Yeah. Close to amateur.
Fair enough. What's up, Auggie? How are you?
I'm great.
Good. Thanks for coming out here.
Of course, anytime. I'm excited to see what you draw.
Me too. So we're here in Jackson Heights, Queens. Augie rode your bike out from Brooklyn. Is that right?
Today I take the train.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. It's supposed to rain. I don't want to get caught again.
Yeah. I guess you got stuck last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
That sucks in your back.
Yeah, it really does. When I was in college, I worked at a construction company, and that was actually a fantastic job because they gave me a bunch of competency and confidence with tools.
Okay, yeah.
You know, it was one of those things where you're like, I'm actually building something, and somebody lives in a house that I worked on. But it also taught me that working in the rain is one of the all-time worst things.
Yes.
I hated it even more than the cold, more than the heat. The working in the rain kind of made me feel sad.
Oh yeah. It's the worst.
Did you see this? Do you use Twitter?
No.
No.
I mean, I have it. I have an account. I don't think I've ever posted.
Yeah. No, I understand.
I'm on social media. People put their tweets on Instagram and Facebook, so I see it.
There's one going around yesterday. Well, I'm gonna apologize right now for eating something.
Yeah, I've been eating it.
I'm very hungry. There's one going around yesterday, the day before, called 5 Jobs I've Had. People, post a bunch of, you see interesting things that people did on the way to being more successful, I guess. I can, in the smallest of ways, understand that. There's another. I saw a response to it that said, "No. This is how AI and the FBI gathers data." It's it's true.
It is. It really is
true. But it was so much fun to participate.
Yeah, I know. I know your story.
Yeah. But I was thinking about the construction job recently because I put it down on there, and that's one of the more. It was an awesome experience. I really liked working for the guy, and I feel like it's really hard sometimes to look at to have a job that's not your dream, but that you can look on fondly, because you learned things, and I feel like that's a narrative that the world doesn't want to embrace right now. It's fully passion or fully, side hustle, there are, and maybe it's because this was a bit more like a trade. I got to learn how to do a little bit of electrical work, a little plumbing work, a little.
That's great.
I gained real skills, so it's easier to look back on as beneficial and.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what makes you a person.
Yeah.
You do the things except your passion.
Yeah. Did you ever do any manual labor?
I worked as a mover.
Oh, okay,
briefly.
That
was
that's
brutal.
Yeah.
A lot of comedians do it.
Really?
Yeah, because the hours and stuff. It's just it's easy. It's off the books.
Oh yeah. Right.
So a lot of, not that I'm a big guy, but a lot of smaller guys do it. And I was like, I can do that then. I don't know how they do. I puked my first day. It was brutal.
Yeah.
My scrawny little friends do it every day. I don't get it.
It's about endurance more than it is about strength. And I'll say that because I'm not a very big guy. And people would always bust my chops because I was 19. So I was even believe it or not, 20 pounds skinnier than I am now. And they'd be like, "You do construction?" I'm like, I'll outlast you. That was my big skill. I knew I could just keep going. I might not have been the strongest guy in the crew, but I could make it to the end of the day at the same speed.
Yeah. I wasn't like that. I burned it out real quick. It was brutal.
Yeah.
I think I only did it like 3 days. And I was like, forget this. Makes you really appreciate like movers. Like I'll never hire a mover just so I don't want to put someone through that. It's really bad.
Yeah. Well, I've hit the point in life now where I will hire movers.
Okay.
I have too much stuff that is not mine. That's the key. Like I used to have a rule in my 20s that I couldn't own anything that I couldn't carry myself. With the exception of like maybe like a piece of musical equipment. But even no bed. I would only see like a futon that I could take apart. Myself couch that sort of thing. I lived on those pretty exclusively because I might have to move. You might have to go into a different room, different apartment. And I just didn't want to ever just be hung up on that stuff. But then as I got older, especially once then you have kids and you're just like, screw this shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm dying already. Like there is no moment where you're done moving and then you're just chilling out.
Yeah.
You're done moving and then like your kids are like, play with me. Bathe me. Put me to bed, Yeah. A lot of people that I know from art school, they do they went into art handling, which is pretty similar to moving. It's like,
really? It gets more delicate.
More delicate, but like it's simultaneously delicate and hard labor because a lot of that stuff gets boxed and crated.
Okay, so
it's pretty heavy. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's cool. I mean, I understand the logic behind staying within your industry by any way possible. I guess like are there a lot of guys who do like bartending or door work or anything like that to stay in the comedy world?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of dog walking.
A lot of dog walking?
Oh, a lot of dog walking.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I feel like 95%.
Really?
I know that walk dogs in some capacity. I've done it, yeah. A friend of mine, a comic, owns a dog walking company, and he'll employ other comedians.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
that's cool. I like that.
He employs my roommate, yeah. It's pretty cool. It's a cool gig. That's another one where it's like, it's not really a real job, but you can make some money.
Yeah, and that has like real. What's the word? You can do well because that is such a regular gig.
Yeah, people need it every day. Some people twice a day.
Yep.
That's what's so interesting. You meet people who own dogs and they just have enough money where they like don't have to care at all. It's like
that dog's it's just part of their maintenance.
It's so weird. They'll be home, like you'll walk a dog and the person works from home, but they just never want to do it.
That's kind of blowing my mind right there.
It's like, what's the point of having a dog? Yeah.
Sounds like my kids.
I think so. We have some special guests. Let me see this. Oh. All right.
Let's shut the door and let's see if we can just keep this going until they break down the door.
Sure. Yeah. All right.
Very good.
But yeah, I've had a lot of weird jobs. Not a lot of manual labor. Like I used to be a balloon artist.
Oh, really?
Parties and stuff. Yeah, for a little while.
Oh, awesome.
That was nuts. I worked with this woman, Katie Balloons.
Katie Balloons. Okay.
It sounds like a cartoon character, but
right.
She's like a hipster. She has like a hipster balloon company.
Oh, really?
So yeah, like it's in Bushwick, but she's pretty successful. She's like was on a reality show, like The Unpoppables. Where
I love it.
Balloon artist. But yeah, so I like met her and she hired me and would do like kids parties and
So you were on the reality show, or
no,
she was, and you met her.
Yeah, and she was like, "Want to work for me?" And I was like, "I guess, yeah."
Oh, I love it.
Okay. I knew how to tie a knot in a balloon, so I was that.
So yeah. Okay. There's a kid in my neighborhood who maybe he'll come back now that the weather's nice again. Mm-hmm. But he is I don't know, maybe he's about 10 or so, and he comes out to where all the little kids are on Sundays where there's a farmer's market, and he'll make balloon animals for $1.
Oh, really?
Or a sword or a hat or something.
Oh, yeah.
He's like a very shy guy, but he comes out and he's got his hustle. I love it. He's like, doing this thing. And
good for him.
Yeah, I like seeing that. He's a fun kid.
Yeah, people are always very impressed with balloon animals too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When I was in college, there was a guy. It was a guy who kind of hung around in our group of friends, and he did that, and I think he did really well doing like kids parties and stuff like that.
They pay a lot.
Yeah,
because parents just want to kind of, do a great thing for their kids, so they're not too concerned. They just like want to be good, so they like throw money at you and
yeah. And also there's just like this, like the going rate, and it's like, all right, you're here in New York City. It's like everything's freaking expensive. It's about what, like $125 for like a half hour, 45-minute
something like
set.
that. Yeah. So it was good money working it. But she did more high end things.
Yeah, I'm sure. Once you got your name.
Totally, and like rich people kind of like are more into that. That there's like hiring a bunch of different people to be at the kids' party. Yeah, there's like a cotton candy person, a balloon person, so they just throw money at you.
Yes, yeah.
We did one gig, like some like I don't know islands, like in an estate. Like we had to like drive through security gates and stuff, and the staff had to let us in. It was on Easter, and I wasn't doing balloons at this one. She was doing the balloons, and I was just going to be in a bunny costume. So we did that. But I imagine it was going to be some kind of crazy party. It was like in their living room, which is like 20 of their rich family members, and like I'm standing in the living room in a bunny suit. My one rule is I was not allowed to speak to anyone. Yeah, of course. So I just kind of stood there, and then I think the guy had something to do with like owning Wendy's somehow.
Really?
Yeah. They're very, very rich. So we're just in the living room. She's making balloon animals for all the bratty rich kids, and then like, all right, we're gonna go on the egg hunt, and we all go outside. And there's like 20 golf carts, and we all get in golf carts, and we drive around the estate finding Easter eggs.
Dude, that's awesome.
Property.
I love it.
And they like giant eggs, and they all get them. We go back to the apartment, and they're all open. They all have cash in them. They're all just like all the little kids just like stacking bills. It's like they all have a wad of cash at the end of it. And it's unreal. It's
wow, that is wild.
Yeah, and I just have to stand there in my
in your bunny costume. You're like, that's cool. That's cool. Try not to.
Yeah, be jealous of these. Trying to rob a little kid.
Right. Yeah. That's wild. And how long ago was that?
Maybe like 2 years ago. It was on Easter too. And then and after the party, I got my own family.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. I actually worked. I have like a lot of stories from this one job I had that I've actually had to go so far as to illustrate some of them because they're too numerous. But it was in Long Island. It was the first block of Long Island. And the address was 12.
Oh, it's like right outside Queens?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I lived in Queens, and I would walk to Long Island in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was a tropical plant store, and we sold big fancy trees and flower arrangements.
Store, by the way?
Is that what?
Is it a hydroponic store?
No. Okay. You're thinking of the one off the LIE?
I think so.
Yeah.
I buy that every day.
Yeah. That's one. I've been there. Yeah. That is no. The place I worked at is no longer there. I worked there from like 94 to 96.
Okay.
And we went to. It was also culture shock for me. I'd never lived out there before. I got the job within like 2 weeks of moving out there. I grew up in like the side of Queens that's close to Brooklyn, and like you could accidentally walk to Bushwick if you weren't paying attention where you were going, which we did a couple times.
Oh, it's like Ridgewood area.
Yeah, exactly. Like Myrtle Avenue and all that stuff. Fresh Pond Road.
That's where you grew up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we moved there in like the early 80s.
Oh, wow.
From East New York.
Okay.
And so anyway, we moved out there to like the end of Queens, and I'd never been around people with a lot of money like that before. Now I was going to their houses, and the guys who owned the store were childhood friends with a character who ended up being on The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, wait, the main guy, Jordan Belfort? Okay.
The Jonah Hill character.
Really?
Was a childhood friend of theirs. So I went to Stratton Oakmont a bunch of times, and I went to all those guys' houses back then. And while they were doing it, and they bragged about it. They were so brazen about that stuff. But this is all like, I should probably save this for another time when I can illustrate the stuff while I'm telling you something. Because it really, I have illustrated a bunch of these stories already because they're just insane. The things that we saw were crazy.
Yeah,
you know, they really were like that.
Just like all that wealth and like.
Yeah. I had never seen people who had like they had security cameras mounted in the trees of their like palatial front yards, you know, and that was kind of creepy to me. You know, I know that stuff is pretty ubiquitous now, but back then I was like, why would you have like, you know, this is your home, and it's like this security stuff. Yeah. It's like that doesn't imply like that you feel safe here. You know? Yeah, it was pretty wild. That was really cool stuff to be exposed to because they were thieves. They were bad people. They were bad people. Yeah.
And did they all get busted? Or was it just Jordan?
Oh yeah. They took down the whole Stratton Oakmont, and then they actually made another brokerage called Monroe Parker. Okay. And we furnished those places with all their trees and plants, and then we have a corporate contract to go water them. You know, same with dog walking. You know, you're just like, yes, they work there, but we come in to take care of their plants. Yeah. You know, and it's a service they provided, and we would go there. And forgive me, I kind of blanked out for a second.
You're working.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can kind of see what's going on over here. Yeah,
that's great.
It's a little abstract, but I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, you were not aware that there's a UFC card?
Yes.
On Saturday?
No. Well, now I kind of remember seeing Jacare on a poster.
Right.
There's a second fight too. Someone in it. Is it Dan Hart? There's another person I recognize.
Greg Hardy, who we saw him fight at Barclays. Yeah.
Is he on it too?
He is. He's the co-main again.
Is he?
Yeah. Like, you know what I think?
Man, it is all business.
Yeah.
Shit, it is.
Exactly. Like they're like, all right. Let's even get a return this time. Like they're just going to run that guy out there to see if he can knock people out with a single punch.
Yeah.
I feel like media-wise, there's not a big outcry and not a big lamentation in articles the way they were last time for two reasons. Number one, the concurrent stories of having Rachel Ostovich on the card as well as Hardy. That was really bad timing, bad circumstance. But number two, I think the big fear was that Greg Hardy was going to come in and look amazing. Yeah. That he was going to come in there and be like, this is what happens when a professional football player learns how to box. Yeah. And he was going to have this beautiful footwork. He was going to smoke.
Yeah.
Oh God, poor guy! I can't remember his name now. And
what was his name?
Anyway,
Ostovich or something.
No, he had it wasn't a Russian name. Anyway, I think that I kind of was afraid of this too. Like, what if this guy who's got a bad reputation, who's got bad story behind him, bad faith, you know, like just kind of exploiting his name and his resume. What if he comes in and he's better than everyone?
That would suck, yeah.
And he's not.
He's not.
And I think that when people are not afraid of like, this is what's going to happen. The sport's going to like make its name off this dude who's got all this baggage. And instead it's like, I don't know if he can go 3 rounds. You know? Yeah. So I think if you're not a threat, it's harder to get up in arms about the UFC booking him. That's just my...
Yeah, I think you're right. Also, take. Just like, you got it out of our system. We were annoyed at first, and it's like, all right, we're over.
Right. Yeah. And you know, you're right. It's like, it's just business. Yeah. It's just business. You know, this is what they're going to do, right?
I can't believe after his DQ last time, they don't let him co-headline again. It's like... Right. It's not like he had a great showing last time. Like, all right, this, it's like... It's like just shitty. Yeah. It's a shitty ending, and now you're going to let him go out again?
Yeah. Right. Well, I feel like I understand booking him because they're like, yo, man, this investment still has to pay off. Yeah. We're not writing it off as a loss yet. But to put him as the co-main, that's like stubborn. That's stubborn. That's the faux pas, you know? Like, it's a heavyweight fight. Make it open up the main card.
Yeah.
You know? Instead they got but you know what's opening up the main card? John Lineker.
Oh really?
Got Corey Sandhagen. He's another guy who, like, you know what I do? I watch the fights that I'm most interested in. And then I listen to recap shows.
Yeah.
And I listen to a lot of preview shows. And that's when there are people who, like, when Brian Ortega was coming up, it's like, he's like, people are saying his name on Heavy Hands. They're saying his name on, like, the Vivisection, and they're saying his name on, like, the Co-Main Event podcast. Those are, like, three podcasts I listen to all the time. And I'm like, all right, fine. Once he's going to fight Cub Swanson, then I just watched all of his fights.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the day before. Like, I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to watch these guys, but I'm not going to, like, sift for gold through a river, you know, and, like, go through all the mud. It's like, no, someone else is going to do that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go back and watch, like, 3-4 fights in a row on a Friday. And then on Saturday, I'll be, like, totally up on this guy. You know, I can't.
It's just too much.
Yeah. I can't I can't even put in 4 hours.
No. I've tried, but I learned I just get bored by the end. And like, I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah.
I need to sit through the early prelims.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm drinking, then it makes it tough by the end. You're like, oh god, I shouldn't have started at 6.
It's yeah, totally. The earliest I used to be able to start is like if I went. I used to belong to MMA in NYC, like meetup.com group.
Oh. Okay.
So I would go to like a bar and I'd go get like, maybe I'd show up at like 8:30 and I would get a good seat. Oh, can you hear my kids? Ow! Maybe you get a good seat and I'll get dinner, you know, I'll get like a Guinness and a burger and fries and just like
chill.
Because I noticed those things, then they would start getting filled up by 10.
Oh, right.
And then like co-main event, main event, you turn around and be like, it's like jam-packed, you know? Like, and I saw some really good fights. I saw Cain Velasquez versus JDS 2.
Oh, okay.
That was like, you know, it's cool to be in a place where it's like electric, you know, like everyone is like hyped up to see this fight, like, you know, and it was a good atmosphere. Those were cool. Those are cool times. I'll always remember that, you know?
Yeah, I do like actually watching it in bars with people sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
I used to go to King's Tavern or something in Bushwick, and they would have them for free, which is cool.
Oh, that's nice.
It's like they wouldn't advertise it, but people knew to go there. And it was a lot of fun. Like I saw Rousey Holmes there.
Oh, nice.
And that was just amazing. Everyone was like, you know, flipping out.
Yeah, exactly.
I almost didn't even watch that fight. I remember I was just like, nah, I'll watch the GIF later.
Yeah.
The GIF of the entire fight.
Yeah, totally.
So that blew my mind. Like, that was great.
That was a special one. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It was like 2016, I think.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that was wonderful. That was
so cool.
I remember staying up to watch that, and then in the morning, my wife was like, all right, show me what happened last night. And like just trying to contain my excitement. You know, like, all right,
totally.
Here we go. And just watching her face as she watched the whole thing unfold, because you know she'd watched most of Rousey's career. Yeah. You know, as a steamroller.
Totally. I remember being excited to like for the next morning to hear what the media was saying.
Yeah.
Because like that, I feel like no one everything's turned.
Yes.
Overnight.
Yeah.
Like, no one thought she was going to lose. It was really like no one was talking about the possibility of her losing. And then the next day, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, of course she sucks. Her boxing sucks." And it's
yeah, totally.
Remember last night? Like, no one even cared about this fight because she was just going to win. You know? Yeah.
You know, I used to write predictions. I used to contribute to a prediction column at Uprocks. Just a kind of a friend on Twitter was like, "Hey, you want to write these with us?" So I'm like, "Yeah, sure, that's nice." And I that's the fight where I stopped after I wrote, you know, my little funny predictions, and I got that so dead wrong.
Yeah,
that I stopped. I was like, I'm never writing predictions again. like this is how humiliating to just be like, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. I didn't either. I kind of remember watching the interviews with Holly Holm. I didn't know who she was, so I was ignorant of her past. But she's just such a nice person. Like I remember her in an interview, she was like, "Well, no one's invincible." That's how she was talking about it. I was like, "Oh, she's gonna get killed." Like fighters gotta go in there like, "I'm gonna kill him." And she was like, "Well, no, I think she's beatable." I was like, "You poor girl, you're gonna die out there."
Right, exactly.
But no, she's just a nice person.
Yeah. I always did you ever see the UFC press conference or like fan thing where that guy starts to serenade her with that old soul song, "You're Just Too Good to Be True," and then like the whole audience joins in? Dude, it's one of the best impromptu moments. And like this is one of those things where I'm like, UFC, like they've given you gold. Your fans have given you gold.
Yeah. Like,
can you please make this? Can that be her walkout song? Can you do highlights of her to that? It's really something. It's quite, I dare I say, special. To watch like people be a fan of someone in such a seemingly innocent way. Yeah, it's really cool. Really,
I gotta look that up. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
That's good. She's fighting for the title, right?
Is
she fighting
Nunes? Yeah, I'm so psyched.
Did they already fight? Didn't she lose to Nunes?
No. This is the last person on Nunes's checklist to be the greatest female fighter because she's beaten Tate, Cyborg, Rousey, and she beats Holm. Like, man, that is a really nice resume. What a great run she's had.
Is that 135 or 145?
135. Okay. And she's saying she plans to defend the 145.
But against who?
Megan Anderson. Why not?
Oh, okay. But she'll win, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think it's smart of her to try and do it now while Anderson is still young.
Because you think she's going to get better and, yeah.
She's got the height. She's got reach.
Yeah.
If she learns to put together a skill set or a game plan that stifle Nunes, that could be, that could happen. That could happen in the near future,
Yeah. Wow. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought Holly already lost to Amanda. I thought that was on like her losing streak. Remember that?
You might be thinking of Shevchenko.
Maybe.
That's the
other blonde one, but yeah. I don't know. That should be great though.
Yeah. And I think that is co-main to John Jones, Thiago Santos.
Oh.
How do you feel about John Jones and his bid to stay busy and put together a different year and the quality of the competition he's going to face in doing so?
Well, it seems like, who's he going to face? It's like who?
Well,
I don't know. Like I feel like he's just in another level where it's like a little not fun anymore, and also that he's so unlikable. It's like I'm not even rooting for him. I'm not even excited. It's just like, whatever. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Well, who's he gonna fight? I actually would like to see him fight Cormier at heavyweight. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But then they have him fighting Johnny Walker. That's a person that they're talking about. Like I'd be interested to see that. I'm sure Jones would win. Who else? Right. I don't know who would want to even see him fight.
Right. I was curious about Dominic Reyes. I don't know if you've seen him fight.
No.
He had a really nice showing against OSP.
Okay.
He almost knocked him out in the first round. He kind of didn't go in for the kill, and then kind of drew it out right until like the last minute of the third round, and just like put him down. He got knocked out at the bell, so it wasn't ruled a TKO, but it quite was.
Yeah. Really, you think he'd do all right?
It's not that I think he would do all right so much as like, all right, this guy's got some juice, but then he just had a lackluster showing against Ozdemir. So it's like, all right, good. I mean, he's coming along, I think that, look, I'd love to see Jones at heavyweight, ideally.
Totally.
Barring that, I'm totally okay with him like fighting every possible person at light heavyweight. I don't care if they're young, they're fresh, they're old. Like, dude, stay busy. He's the best fighter ever. He's definitely got some likability issues, but I mean, I'm gonna watch that guy fight the same way I'll watch like a Conor McGregor, like a Rousey. Like, man, I'm not like in love with these people, but I'm gonna watch them fight.
Yeah, it's just so exciting. Yeah, you're right. No, I'll always watch him fight. He's so great. But yeah, I don't like him.
Yeah,
yeah. Like I don't usually get too emotionally invested in people, like whatever. But like he is someone who I'm like, I don't think he's a good guy.
I hear you.
He seems like evil. I know there's a weird word to use, but like I was watching him in an interview once, and like he's just like so. You can tell so fake, and I was like, this is a bad guy. He's just a fake person who can beat anyone up. It's like
right. It's like the word. It's your nightmare scenario. Yeah. It's like. Yeah,
and he doesn't even try. It's like, damn, you shouldn't exist. It shouldn't be like the toughest guy in the world. Shouldn't be a guy who doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
Like, care about people, and I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like it's a nightmare scenario.
Yeah,
I do like when he talks about the level of preparation he goes into, and it makes it kind of pulls back the veil on what you're saying, like where he doesn't even try. Where instead I think he said this after the second Cormier fight or before it, basically like, I'm obsessed with my opponent. I study everything about them. If we're in a clinch, I already know whether he's more likely to lean left or right. I've studied every inch of their game. Like that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, cool. I like hearing that. I like hearing that he's like, I'm not just better than you. I'm obsessed with beating you. I'm obsessed with knowing you better than you know yourself. Then it's like, then being the bad guy, being an evil person, whatever you want to call it, like, then it has like a reality to it, a reality that's like it manifests in an interesting way. It's like, what if the most diabolical person had to get into a cage fight? Yeah. Like, how would they approach it? He's not a maniac. He's more like an eviscerator, Yeah. It's like, so I'm.
No, I do appreciate that, but that seems more recent.
Right.
So I do like seeing that he is trying and stuff, because back in the day his thing was like he said you didn't even train and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Because actually one of the things that got me into MMA was seeing how they train.
Really?
I remember very early on when I started watching MMA, seeing just some like video of Wanderlei Silva training and be like, oh, I had no idea that. I just thought like fighting was just fighters. But seeing him like a face mask on, he's like being held back by like ropes and like running. And I was like, I remember being like frightened, be like, how could anyone ever step in a cage with someone like that, like this animal?
Right.
And then he gets beat a lot. Like he's not the best, and so it's like interesting. Like wow, like they all train like that. It's very interesting. And I was like, oh, they're like real athletes, and that really turned me on to it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Right. So we got got some good shape going on here.
That looks great.
This will turn into something. This is
awesome.
A nice start. I actually, I did a piece. I'll show you what I did last week. Let's see. So I did a bunch of like. Michelle Watterson versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get the arm bar that she almost landed, and this is like a gesture drawing. I was trying to do like 2-3 minute poses where you figure out what the main flow of energy is, like the line where this head to hip to knee to toe. I was like, all right, this is what I'm making here. This is where the strong line work is. And I just kind of started flipping it all around in different angles. So that's where Watterson was going to go, and this is Kowalkiewicz here.
I see.
And I like taking some of these pictures and flipping them to a different angle, so it becomes like a different, like almost like a floating in air kind of shot instead of like the aerial view down and like sitting on a mat. So it's the same. Like I'm thinking there's like this cool like downward thrust kind of thing happening on an empty part on the page, and kind of playing around with real simple shapes to figure out like what it is I'm making. And then this is where I ended up. I really like this one a lot. I ended up doing a final drawing. Yeah. There's Watterson. Now, I think the original drawing was rotated 90 degrees. The original photograph or GIF or whatever screenshot I had that I was working from was 90 degrees to the right. And I rotated it, and I thought it looked like they're like, I imagine them like being in this position and getting dropped into like a tank of water and just slowly like sinking straight down, and like she's drowning and in trouble, and Watterson's like relentlessly trying to rip that arm off.
That's cool.
Yeah, this became the what I like to do is I look at video of the fights, and then I'll do work like this. And then when it comes time to make my final piece, I'm looking at my own drawing rather than the fight footage.
Yeah.
I like to get 2 or 3 steps removed, so it's more about this image than replicating the photo.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that stuff like that, where it's like, it's more artistic and creative than just like drawing what it was.
Right. And there are a lot of people who do a really good job of that too.
Yeah.
There's a couple.
Something though.
Yeah. Anyway,
very cool.
Is it okay if we wrap it up?
Sure, man. Yeah. Hey,
Great
thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Good seeing you guys.
Checking
All right.
things out.
Good night.
Good night. Fights.
All right. By the way, is Bell